y'all, my name is Tanny and I love to cook. Are you subscribed to my channel yet? If not, please subscribe now. I'm on a journey towards my first 100 subscribers. This is March 2021, so it's almost springtime. The days are getting warmer outside, but at night it's still pretty chilly. And on a cold night, there's nothing I love to make more than a soup. Tonight, I'm going to show you how I make my beef stew. It's easy, it's delicious, so flavorful, and I make it in my crock pot slow cooker. Let's get to cooking. This is the meat. I have 2 chuck roasts. This one was fresh. The one on the left was frozen that I thawed out. To season it, I'm using onion salt from Trader Joe's, smoked paprika, oxtail seasoning, black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and olive oil. So I wash my meat off and then I make sure I dry it thoroughly before we sear it, which is really important for the searing process. The marbling on this meat looks delicious and it's going to make for a really, really tender beef stew. Now I'm going to take my trusty knife to cut up my roast. You want to try to cut your pieces into even sized pieces so they cook evenly. But I'm going to cook this beef stew so long that it's going to be falling apart, falling off the fork anyway. So I'm not really that stressed about making sure each piece is exactly the same size. You'll notice there is some fat on the meat, and I don't trim all of it away. I want some of that fat as flavor and to add moisture to the stew. So I have my 2 chuck roasts cut up. It's a total of about 5 pounds. And you'll see there's some fat on some pieces that I am going to leave. I put a towel under my plastic cutting mat to make sure that my mat didn't move as I was cutting up my meat. So next I'm just going to heat up my pan and season my meat so that I can sear it off. So I have the pan on kind of high to add my olive oil. And now you see that I've added seasoning to my meat, and I'm frying this in batches, small batches, because I don't want my meat to steam. I want it to actually sear on all sides before I add it to the stew. I turned down the heat a little bit to medium because that grease was popping, y'all. So as my meat cooks, I season it and put it in the pan, and then I set it to the side until I get it all done for the stew. So next up, I cut up 1 onion, and I washed several potatoes, but I only ended up using 2 or 3. So I added a 32-ounce carton of chicken stock to my crock pot with my seasonings. Also, I added bay leaf. So here I've added my meat and onions. Now I'm going to add a can of diced, no salt added tomatoes to the crock pot. I'm adding the diced tomatoes and all the juice in the can of tomatoes. And I'm going to let this cook down. So I'm going to cook this for a total of 6.5 hours on high. But you don't want to be so concerned with the amount of time. You just want to make sure that your meat is fork tender. So when you put your fork in it, the meat is starting to fall apart. So towards the ending process, you'll notice that it's shrunken down, and I've taken out a bowl or 2 to taste. I'm adding some frozen peas here. They've been in my freezer for a while and I need to use them up. Also, I found this bag of frozen carrots. So I'm going to add this at the end. Again, you want to eyeball the amount that you like to your liking. If you don't like carrots or peas, you don't have to use either one. I'm just choosing to add these in. I also think bell peppers would be great in this stew. And I wish I had added more potatoes in. I was trying to be carb conscious, but that was unnecessary. Oh, and speaking about carbs, when I seared off my meat, I did add cornstarch to the pan to make a little bit of gravy as the meat cooked, but I didn't show video of that. But I didn't use too much cornstarch, again, because that would just add more carbs. So here we have our pot roast looking delicious, and at the end I'm going to add browning seasoning. This isn't a required step, but I do like the effect it gives. It just turns the broth of the stew a little bit more brown. It gives it a deeper, richer color. Look at that, it just pops with the orange of the carrots and the green of the peas. This is so delicious. It's the perfect thing for a cold and chilly night. The meat is so tender and flavorful. And here we have a bowl of our beef stew. Please subscribe to my channel and click like on this video.